Tech Talk. My name is Fakoejo Olalikon. You can call me August 4th if my name is a mouthful. Of course, I'm the guy that will be bringing to you innovative Nigerians who are using technology to change the way we live our lives and, of course, simplifying the way we work as well. I have a special guest with me. But before I introduce her, don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. Of course, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. It's just one word, Divine TV. Well, yes, let's dive right into the show. Well, like I said, I have with me, I usually like calling out Urentan, but that's not her name anyway. I don't know if she probably likes being called Urentan, but you can, for those who don't know her name is actually Precious Iwa. I hope I didn't murder your name though.
No,
are you sure?
Yes.
So which one do you prefer? Urentan or
name.
You prefer your name?
Yes, my name does it better.
Can you hear that voice? That voice is enough reason for you to just like want to invest in an idea. Well, she hasn't gotten that, to that stage yet, that sourcing, or should I say getting investors fund, but that's also one of the things that we'll be discussing on this show. But let me give you a little background about Precious. Precious has a tech idea, or should I say an innovation, whereby she's trying to help Nigerians, of course, reduce their cost of spending. Well, of course, we all know what's happening now in Nigeria, where gas has gone up, petrol has gone up, real estate has gone up, a lot of things. Even pure water now is no longer 10 naira. You buy it for like, I think, 3 for 15 naira. So for someone like Precious right now, she's trying to, of course, help us reduce the cost of our living. Well, Precious, before you tell us why you've decided that, okay, you found a problem, which is Nigerians are spending too much, let us help them cut off their, their cost of living as well. Let's talk about your career before you decide to, dive into tech. What was the journey like? What were you doing? Why did you leave it?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lekon. Basically, after I left school, the normal NYSC, I got a job as a business analyst for Sterling Pro Business Applications. It was an IT company. So basically, it was entry level because I wasn't I didn't have any previous knowledge. So the idea was for me to be trained and groomed and grown in the company as time goes on. So, but I stayed there for I think 6 months because I wasn't actually learning what I expected to learn.
So what were you learning?
Now the role of a business analyst is actually to interpret the requirements of customers. Like it gets customer requirements and translate it to the company in order to solve their problems. And while I was there, I wasn't really achieving those things. I couldn't really analyze basic things. You understand? And time was running, so it was just a 9 to 5. Yeah, it was just come there 9 to 5, and then though I learned a lot though, but then it was time for me to move on. I felt I had to move on to something else, and I got little knowledge there, but then I moved on to something else.
Well, I think what you also moved into was also kind of tech related.
Yes.
But it was also 9 to 5.
Yes, but it wasn't immediately. So I went to different other companies. I explored. You understand? So I wanted to see different facets of.
So you're one of those that were working in. They call them loan sharks. Because recently they were clamped down on by the Nigerian government. So was it also the lack of fulfillment? That's why you left, because you worked at a loan app as well?
Yes, I worked in a fintech company that loans, yes, and they had up to like 5 to 6 apps. And I saw that market space was just like Nigerians were being ripped off. The truth is that a company having 6 different apps, and this 6 different apps charges like 32 to 40% interest rate on a 7 to 14 day loan, and a 5% overdue charge per day on that same loan. And you see different people in their thousands still taking the same loan. Like if you don't take from this app, you take from this app. If you don't take from, so it was like a continuous process.
Basically, they are putting Nigerians in what's it called? They were putting Nigerians in more debt.
Yes, should I say putting Nigerians in more debt? It was like a vicious circle of poverty.
So if you don't take from company, you
take from company.
But basically, it's the same company that owns.
It's the same company that owns the whole platform, and I felt for the customers because you can't really utilize a 7-day loan for anything that is going to be viable. Except even if you're running a business, how would you get 35% to 40% profit from a 7-day business? What business are you doing? Do you understand? So I felt for them.
So how did you now? Because I know sometimes it's very hard to decide to like you want to quit your job and become an entrepreneur. It's very, especially when you understand the society that we belong in Nigeria. So what was that moment what struck that that reasoning for you that you'd be like, okay, you know what, it's time for me to move out of the 9 to 5 and to just become an entrepreneur? Was it while you were working for this loan app you got the inspiration, or?
Should I say right from time, I've always known that it's not easy to create. But when you're a creator, that's the best thing that can ever happen to you. Now, I've always known that I'm not the job kind of person. I would not succeed. I won't succeed doing a job. But it's not my calling. I'm not fulfilled, especially in such a toxic environment that I was at the time. And so I started thinking, and ideas keep coming. Like God, as in, I wouldn't want to go religious, but then it was time.
So you received like an inspiration straight from God.
Yes, like it was time. Like it was time for me to move on to something else. But then it wasn't easy also.
But how did people at home take that? How did they take the decision to leave? Because basically you're sure that you're going to get something at the end of the month working for someone or for a company. But now you decide to chase, a goal, an idea. This doesn't come with certainty. Like at the end of the month, you're getting something. Even it's you burning cash.
True.
So how did they take it back home? Did you have to convince, or they just followed your footsteps?
Okay, from beginning, basically, everyone knows me as a person that has a mind of my own. So I don't let people do the thinking for me. I do the thinking myself, and the execution I do myself. So when it comes to making a decision on you're getting a stable salary and going on something that you don't even know, you're not sure of the possibilities. First, I weighed a lot of things. The salary the Nigerian pays you, but the salary a Nigerian company pays you only foods your transportation.
So basically, they're paying you to come to work.
They're paying you to come to work, foods your transportation, your lunch, your data.
Not even breakfast and dinner.
Okay, yes, not even breakfast and dinner. So your transportation, your data, your lunch, and probably just because if you notice, the circle was every third week you're taking a loan. Do you understand what I'm saying? So every third week of the month, you've exhausted the salary. So you take a loan, not up to your salary, but a loan to help you till the next salary comes. And then when the salary comes, you're paying off that loan, then you're still left with something to take you. So it was like a vicious circle. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So you're going round, and there's no telling when it's going to stop. So at that point, you have to sit yourself down and say, what are you really doing with your life? Like someone always says, salary is the drug they pay you to forget your vision.
That's true. Like you said, it's a vicious circle. Like it's something that, you're not the first person that would actually say that, especially the quote you gave that salary is what you are paid in order to forget your own dreams as well. But before we move on into other aspects that has to do with pressures and, our idea you rent out, let's go for another commercial break. We'll be right back.
Enjoy inspirational, informative, and soul-lifting Christian programs such as Christian Parenting and Homefront, Light After Darkness, Fulfilling the Mandate, Kids and Bible, Movies Review, Shepherd's Spouse, Kingdom Stars, Teens Perspectives, My Next Gospel Event, and lots more on Divine Television. Download Divine TV mobile app on Google Play Store or watch on our YouTube channel. You can also visit www.tvdivine.net. Divine TV, enriching souls through the gospel of Christ.
Okay, welcome back. Yes, it's still your boy, August 1st, or Fakoejo Olaliko. Well, I earlier said it that you can follow us on all our social media, and so I'm going to repeat it again. You can follow us on, just search for Divine TV. It's the same word on YouTube, on Instagram, and of course on Facebook as well. I still have Precious with me. She's still here, giving us, quotable quotes, telling us why she had to, leave 9 to 5 to people like us and decide to be an entrepreneur. People like us, we are not, God hasn't given us that idea to create a startup yet. But for someone like Precious, she already has that idea and she's building towards it already. So talking about the idea you're building towards now, what is Urentum? I know I've given them like a brief, or should I say summary of what Urentum is about, but you never can tell. Probably you have much more. I'm sure it's better to hear from the horse's mouth than from me myself.
Okay. Now, basically, Urentum is a platform that enables people have access to fashion and fashion accessories.
Okay.
You understand? Now, because of the rising cost of food, electricity, everything, now people have access to get fashion, the kind of fashion they want.
Okay.
Clothes, shoes, handbag, weave-ons, earrings, jewelries, anything. But then they're not owning them. You use and you return. So it's like business to customers and also peer to peer.
Peer to peer, okay.
Do you understand?
So which means I can probably borrow you let's say I have a handbag or that you're interested in
Yes.
or something.
So I can use it, but I don't have to own it, because
wow.
if you notice, the reason why people do shopping or sporadic shopping is to impress, to pepper them. So you can, nobody has to know this is not from your wardrobe.
Yes, true.
Do you understand? So Urentum just gives you, like the name says, Urentum. But then nobody knows.
You get time.
Nobody you get time. Yes,
okay,
like
yeah,
Urentum.
Okay, so Precious, if I get you right now, what you're trying to say now is Urentum is just like Airbnb. The only difference is that it's Airbnb for fashion.
Yes.
So basically, I can decide to rent out the shirts or my footwear, just to make quick return. So it's like an investment. Basically.
Yeah, so you're buying, even if you're buying now as an individual, you're buying your clothes with the mindset that I can actually make money from this. So you're not just buying to keep in your wardrobe. A lot of people have a lot of clothes that they have not worn for like ages, and these clothes are expensive. They cost money and they also consume space.
Just like celebrities will probably they've been told, they were not told, but they limit themselves to wearing just one
per
event or per year or something.
So, and those clothes are very expensive.
Sure.
So instead of just packing everything in your wardrobe and it's cluttering, occupying space, why not make profits from it? And it's also help other people not spend excessively on clothing. You understand? So Urentum basically helps you make life easier based on your fashion sense and the amount of money that you have. So it's not just for the rich. There are categories.
Middle class, the lower class.
Yes. Now, a parent whose child is going for the school party and does not have that much money to buy this and buy that, you can just go on the platform and say, okay, what do they have in the children's category? A dress that costs 10,000, you can rent it for 20% or 10% of that amount on Urentum, and she wears and returns, and you're happy. Do you understand? So when you even buy, you know that this thing can be an avenue for profitability.
Because basically what we are known, or what we are all known to, or that it's quite popular in Nigeria, is basically the wedding gown, the suits that brides are now trying to rent us now to make money. But if I want to get you correctly now, because you said that you're making life easier for people by cutting down their costs, but I know it seemed not to have been easy for you either. Have there been, I might be wrong, it might have been easy for you, but have there been challenges, faced, as during this period you're trying to, build the idea and all?
Okay, the thing is, Nigeria is a very blessed country.
Yeah. Blessed in quotes, right?
Yes, blessed country. So the thing is, when you're starting up, whatever it is you're starting up, it has to take a personal decision to make sure that this thing works.
Okay.
Do you understand? So I wouldn't say there are no challenges. Definitely there are challenges. We decided to start from a website.
Okay.
You understand, and building the website alone, has taken its own toll. You understand, and trying to consolidate, getting the right, should I say the right
Team or
the right sizes,
okay.
the right, how will I put, team, yes, support, and a lot of things. Capital also. You understand, and then we're making sure that we put the best information. That's why I say the right sizes.
Okay.
We're making sure we put the best information on the platform, not just something that will be streamlined to a certain kind of people, but something that everybody can use.
Okay.
And that is why we didn't do all-round rentals. We streamlined it to what? Fashion.
Okay.
So some other people will do fashion, will do equipment.
Like a specialization for you.
Is a niche. The niche is fashion.
True.
So fashion and fashion lovers, people who are interested in fashion. And even if you're not, the basic idea is just to make life better, easier. Cutting cost. You don't always have to shop all the time. If it's for an event, because most times people go shopping, except for those that do it sporadically. Most time people shop is because they have an event or they have something they want to go for or attend. So you can just look up the site, and if people have what you want, you rent it for 10%, 20%
At this
of
stage, nobody will have clothes in their wardrobe anymore.
I wouldn't say that. Why? Because, like I said, if you're buying, you're now buying with a sense of profitability.
Okay.
You buy, you wear, you put it on the platform.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because you rent time also gives you opportunity to buy. So we put the selling price and we put the rental price.
Oh, okay.
So whichever you choose,
you go for. Well, so much to learn and so much, a lot to pack out. How will I put it? A lot to unpack. Yeah. But aside from, you've spoken about the challenges, you've spoken, and you speak with so much courage and so much assurance. But looking at the situation in Nigeria, I think they said about probably 70% of startups, or should I say SMEs in Nigeria, do fail at the first 3 months. Does this not scare you? Understanding that, first of all, starting a business in Nigeria puts you at a disadvantage. Just because the cost of running business is probably, I think it's more costlier than, in Ghana, in Cameroon and all. So does this not scare you?
Okay, when you say fail, you don't really fail until you give up.
So you're not just a founder, you're a motivational speaker.
No. You're not a failure until you give up, actually. So every startup starts from an idea. And every idea has the potential to, how will I put it? Every idea is a seed. And every seed has the potential to grow. But not every seed grows. The seed has in it the potential to grow. But that does not mean it will grow.
Are we going into the Bible right now?
No. So I'm trying to explain. Because, like I said, every startup is motivated by an idea.
True.
An idea is like a seed that you plant. So there are different ingredients that will ensure that that seed or that idea grows. So when something is not growing the way you want it, or it's not coming out, you have to go and check, okay, what am I doing wrong? What mistakes am I making? How can you go back, you check. So you don't call it failure, even if it looks as though things are not working as you planned.
True.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand, because I think even when you look at, for instance, founders like Piggyverse. Now, for instance, I think they founded like about 5 or 6 companies, startups, before they kept failing, in these startups before they eat gold with Push CV, and then eventually they were able to found Piggyverse, which became, I think, their biggest success. So I think failure seems to be part of the process. You
go back, you learn, and you come back stronger. You go back, you learn. So that's why I started a company, not Urentam. Urentam is a product under the company.
Well, we've heard a lot from Precious. Before she dives into, because she's moving from Urentam to basically the company in itself now. So before she explains further, let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back.
Enjoy inspirational, informative, and soul-lifting Christian programs such as Christian Parenting and Homefront, Light After Darkness, Fulfilling the Mandate, Kids and Bible, Movies Review, Shepherd's Spouse, Kingdom Stars, Teens Perspectives, My Next Gospel Event, and lots more on Divine Television. Download Divine TV mobile app on Google Play Store or watch on our YouTube channel. You can also visit www.tvdivine.net. Divine TV, enriching souls through the gospel of Christ.
Welcome back. Yeah, I'm still your host, Fako Ejo Olaleko. And like I said earlier, if that's a mouthful, you can call me August 1st. And yes, as usual, I still have with me Precious in the house. She's been, giving us some life lessons on how to cut down our costs. And basically, that is what our business stands for. You've been hearing Airbnb. Well, Precious business, or should I say a tech company you rent time, is basically Airbnb fashion. You rent your clothes out for profits, or you can basically the shirt that is on you right now, or probably the skirt you're wearing, or the shoe, or the earring, basically can become an investment for you. A short-term investment or a long-term investment. So Precious, you were telling us about your company, so
Okay.
let's go on.
Okay, so I was saying something about Primex ICI.
Okay.
Now, I said Primex ICI stands for Ideas, Concepts, and Innovation. It was when you asked me about failure, and I said,
Yes.
Ideas, Concept, and Innovation is a company which is open for all these kind of things. Bring up your ideas, work on it. If it fails, bring up something else. Ideas, your concepts, innovate, be innovative. So, your Rentam is just one product.
Okay, so
So there are other products in the
products
pipeline.
pipeline.
Do you understand? So it's more like a conglomerate of products, companies, mini companies.
Okay. But
Do you understand?
yeah, I understand what you're saying now. But basically, in Nigeria, it's not easy to get early funding, like startup capital now.
Yes.
It's not easy to get that. So do you think this needs to change? Because, for instance, someone like you now, you have the idea, but the capital is not readily available.
Yes.
So do you think there's something that needs to change towards that aspect? Because it seems like most companies, most startup founders have to bootstrap for like about few years before they have or they get that access into VC funds.
Okay.
So do you think that needs to be changed? Like there should be a ready-made fund available for startup founders, or should I say entrepreneurs who have ideas that can actually, at least, that can solve problem and, create revenue in the process.
Okay, so a lot needs to be done actually. People who bootstrap probably have to save up for a very long time,
Okay.
and then get from family and friends and all that believe in you, because for people to give you money, they have to at least believe in you to an extent.
True.
So, but sometimes the money you get from bootstrapping, it just does little. Do you understand?
Okay. It's not enough to scale.
Is sometimes enough for some
Okay.
people, depending on who gives you
Who
money
gives-
and how
okay.
much you're given. But for some people who are lone wolves entrepreneurs, like maybe just you and a few members of your team, and then every other person is looking at you, why don't you do a 9 to 5 or go and get busy with other things? You have to now start sourcing for funds. You understand, from VCs, and then these people, when you send them, when you apply, fill the forms online or mails. The thing is, it takes so long, except if you know someone in that particular organization to fast track. And if you don't, you have to wait. Some take as much as 6 months. Some take as much as 8, because do you understand? So I think I submitted to one and haven't gotten a response. But the thing is, things have to change definitely. For this country to thrive economically, ideas need to be given the opportunity to grow and germinate.
True.
Do you understand?
Governments must be willing to also fulfill with the founder or support the founder
Yes,
through
like-
their growth stage.
Yes, like that sense of development.
Okay, but that brings me to the That brings me to the aspects of in terms of VC funding and as well as bank loans now,
Okay.
because it seems like the tech industry is tilted towards VC funding. But to you now, what do you think, which do you think is much more beneficial, knowing that there's not much access to VC funding? Or should I say there are VC fundings, but the access is limited? Which will you say you prefer, VC funding or bank loans? Which do you think is much more better for it?
VC funding, what it does is not just the money.
Okay.
Now, when people invest in you, they're giving you not just their money, they're giving you their labor, their time. Because their money represents their time. They didn't pick it on the street. So when they give you their money, they want you to win. They want you to thrive. They want your product to scale because they've invested in you. Now, when you take a loan from a bank, the bank does not care what you do with the money. All they want is at a specific time, after the agreement is 1 year, you're giving us our money back.
Money with interest.
They collect their money with their interest. And one thing about startups,
they're not willing to fail with you.
one thing about startup is, how will I put it? It's dynamic. Things are changing rapidly. You might be thinking this is it. Before you know it, something else has come. So you have to also change. So by the time you've made your calculations, you've drawn your budgets based on a specific thing, and it changes. If you took a loan, you'll be frustrated because how would you change with that thing?
How will you pivot?
How would you pivot?
Yeah,
But when you have those companies, or let me say venture capitalists, they can understand the changes in the market because you consistently give them what? Feedback.
True.
And they can say, okay, these are the changes that have happened. I'll put more money because of these changes. You understand? There's a communication, there's a flow between a founder and the investors. So that's why I would every day choose VC funding to loans. Loans are like you're the only one bearing this thing as the founder. But VC funding, your investors and you have to have that synergy. So we're all bearing it together.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And it also helps to consolidate what you're doing, because these people would help you scale faster. These people would see the light when nobody sees it.
True.
Because they're investing in you.
Okay, well, since we know that there's, what's it called? Basically now, VCs are there, or should I say, you've said it now, because through your explanation now, I've realized that VC funding is much more better than bank loans. Because I think some VCs sometimes can even be probably on your team. They can nominate someone that represents them on your team to better help you as a director or something.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so looking at that now, let's look at another situation in the tech industry, which has to do with government participation in the tech industry. Yes, government is always behind innovations. Innovations are often far away, or should I say, they're always far away from government in terms of how innovations rises or comes out yearly, especially when you call it about a country in Nigeria right now, considering the number of startups that we have. So governments are always lagging behind ideas or innovators. But do you think that, I know that, for instance, Lagos State government has a hub. There's a senator, I think Senator Abiru also has a similar hub, tech innovations. Do you think we need more of these? Because when we look at tech startups in Nigeria now, basically most of them are started by founders that are from probably private schools and all that. And most of them probably, let's say, they've graduated before they decide to go into it. Do we need government participation through public institutions as well, whereby while you're a student, you have this mindset that it's not until you graduate and become a doctor. But while in school, you can be like building an idea, and basically you know that there's a fund available created by government for students who wants to like pursue an entrepreneurship
through the educational
institution. So what do you think government needs to do, generally now, what do you think government needs to do?
I think, like you said, it starts from starts from the educational institution. When you're in school, your mind is sharp. I don't know if you get me. And I went to University of Lagos. I graduated from Department of Economics. And there's something we do every year. They call it the expedition. And then there's also room for submitting of business ideas and all those things for our department. You understand? But I don't know for other departments in the university. But it starts from there. And most people who have really emerged successful from the department are those people who participated in this NESA event, that's the Nigerian Economic Student Association, UNILAG chapter. The people I've noticed that really participated are successful. They're creators. They might not have the full cash now, but they have evolved.
Okay.
Do you understand? So if those environments were not created, I don't think they would think they had it in them to actually
do that.
So that's just for our own. So if the government can create an enabling system in the institution, set out a fund, even if not the government, the school itself,
Okay.
you can say, okay, let's set out a fund for innovation
Okay.
and have a unit, like a building for innovation. Do you have ideas? Come and pitch.
Come and pitch.
And then let's see how it can be developed. If that can happen in different universities, trust me, things will change.
Well, I know we are in the, what's it called? We're in the change administration. Although things have changed from, I don't know, should I say bad
From good to
from
good.
good to good. Let's put it that way, from good to
Yeah.
good. But moving on, because we're down to our last question now.
Okay.
Tell me about your short-term plan in 1 minute. Tell me about your short-term plan and your long-term plan. What are you planning for yourself and your renter?
Okay, so my short-term plan is just to make sure Urentam works, Urentam scales. Because like I said, Urentam is the first product of Primex ICI.
Okay.
The long-term plan is the company in general, building other platform. The next project is Hustle Better.
Okay.
It's a platform, but I wouldn't want to go into that.
Yeah, I understand. I
So
understand.
the short-term plan is make sure between 3 to 6 months that the company scales.
And also
the product scales.
And also you're in the process of also seeking, you're planning on raising funds to
Yes,
support your renter.
yes,
right?
yes, definitely.
So you're open
We're on
to
it.
investments.
We're open for investment. We're open for discussions.
Why? You don't
And
want to
not just money. I'm not just looking for money. I'm looking for people who will be interested. People who sit me down and say, okay,
Who believe
this
in
is
the idea
yes, who
and
will
are
believe
willing
in the
to
idea. You
contribute
understand? It's
as
not just
well.
to collect money
Not just
and
finance.
not just finance. Not just finance.
Well, so much to unpack, but that's all we can take for today or this edition of course, Tech Talk. And like I said, my name is Fakwejo Olaleko, and you can call me August 4th in case my name is a full, or how did they put it? No, it's a mouthful, yes. I almost forgot that aspect. But Precious, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
so much for
Mr.
coming
Leko.
here to share your idea with me as
Thank
well.
you so much.
I'm sure you've not just shared it with me, you shared it to our subscribers and those that are probably going to subscribe, later on, our prospective subscribers. Like I said earlier, you can, of course, follow us on all our social media handles, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram as well. It's just one word, it's Divine TV. Yes, Divine TV, as in D', then VINE. Then, of course, TV. That's one you can spell. Anyway, thank you so much for joining today's edition. Until we meet next time, it's goodbye from here.